meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Belsley.
Here.
Blunier.
Here.
Dobb.
Here.
Hare.
Here.
Herman.
Here.
Kaufman.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no public hearings today, no presentations or special reports that I'm aware of. Would anyone like to make a public comment? There being none, would anyone either on the board or in the audience like to pull something from the consent agenda? If not, could I have a motion to approve? Lanier, seconded by Jeff. Any questions about the bills or the minutes? Call it, please.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes. I have a proclamation. Every year about this time, the Small Business Administration calls and asks that we make a proclamation to recognize small businesses, and particularly Small Business Saturday. I won't read the entire proclamation, but it basically says, whereas the Village of Morton supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our economy, and preserve our neighborhoods, and whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now, therefore, as President of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Morton, I do hereby proclaim November 28th, 2015 as Small Business Saturday. I would like to proclaim this proclamation unless any of the Board of Trustees would be opposed to it. There being none, we're going to declare that a proclamation. I also wanted to mention that back in August, when one of the trustees said his son wanted to make a movie at the Village Hall as a class project, it seemed fine with me. Even when Trustee Dobb brought it up at the last board meeting, I was kind of surprised anyone even cared because it had been done some months ago. However, after that meeting, I talked to some folks who I have a lot of respect for and found that they were kind of upset with the movie. So I re-examined the video through their eyes as much as I could and realized that my participation was inappropriate. No one broke any rules, certainly not Trustee Blunier. He was just trying to help his son with a project. But I'm guilty of at least bad taste in participating. It kind of made it look like the village was involved and they weren't. And so I want to apologize to those in the community who it offended. I've also asked Tom Davies to prepare some regulations on the use of public buildings. Village Clerk.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village Administrator.
I have several things tonight, Your Honor. The first of which, I have made my recommendations for our health insurance coverage for the calendar year 2016. I don't know how much of this detail you want. Basically, I'm recommending for our medical coverage that we stay with United Healthcare that we have had in the past. For dental and life and accidental death and dismemberment, I'm recommending that we change from MetLife to Standard. Main reason being is Standard offers for the police officers, if they're killed in the line of duty, they get a 3 times the normal benefit rather than 2 times the normal benefit for coverage. And the premium is actually lower than what MetLife's premium was quoted at for this year. And for our vision coverage, I'm recommending that we stay with VSP, which we've had for several years, and they have not increased their rates at all. So that's my recommendation.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Julie looked at these pretty thoroughly, and in the case of the health insurance, we have one employee has an existing condition. If we were to jump to another carrier, it would create some expense problems, and so I think she's made the proper choice and the proper recommendation. Any questions for Julie? Call it, please.
Blunier,
Yes.
Dobb,
Yes.
Hare.
Just thank you for your work, Julie. I know that that's not an easy process to go through. Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
The next item I have is my recommendation for our packaged liability and work comp premiums for the next year. I'm recommending that we stay with Cool Insurance, and the package policy would be handled by ICRMT, as it has in the past, with a slight increase of $4,500 from the prior year. Our work comp would stay with IPRF, which actually is a $14,000 decrease from the prior year. But I am recommending, in addition to the two packages here, that we take out an additional package which would cost about $7,700, which would provide us with $1 million in cyber liability coverage. Currently, if something were to happen in the village records, our online system or our database get hacked into, our current coverage is only $50,000, and records show that that's a drop in the bucket if something were to happen, to make people whole and to cover the cost of notifying everyone and correcting the system and all that is a lot more than that. So I'm recommending that we take that additional policy out too. So it would make, I think, like almost a break even from this year to last year.
Motion.
So moved. Second.
Second by Sam. Any discussion or questions? Call it, please.
Dobb,
Yes.
Hare,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier.
Yes.
The next item is ordinance number 15-13, which would amend Title 8, Chapter 15 of the Morton Municipal Code in regards to the disclosure of utility records.
Motion.
So moved.
Motion by Randy, second by, is that you said?
Yeah, I'll second. Scott was really trying, but.
Any discussion? Call it, please.
Hare,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
The next item is ordinance number 15-12, which is our annual levy and assessment of taxes for the fiscal year beginning May 1st, 2015, or 2015 and ending April 30th, 2016. This is an increase of approximately $16,000 from the prior year. We're only allowed, by statute, we're only allowed to increase our levy by the cost, or the consumer price index percentage increase for the year 2014, which was only 0.8%. So this is actually just a small increase over the prior year.
Motion, please. Tom, second by Sam.
So, second.
He was a little slow back there.
Who was second?
Sam.
Sam. Okay.
Any discussion? Call the question, please.
Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Blunier,
Yes.
Dobb,
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Okay, last thing is resolution number 20-15, which would approve changes to the building facade grant program that it's put on through the Business District Commission. People approve those. They are recommending that we increase the maximum facade grant to $10,000. It's currently $5,000. We would increase the maximum design or engineering grant from $2,500 to $5,000. And it would also add a stipulation on the design and engineering grant that it could not be reimbursed if the project was not completed. It would be pending completion of the project for that to be approved. And it would increase the number of grant rounds from 1 to 2 if necessary, depending on the amount of money that's appropriated. If there's additional funds remaining after the first grant round, they would like to be able to do a second grant round in July. It would change the language so that someone could apply for a design and engineering grant along with a facade grant and, complete it as a package as a whole. And then it would also institute a application fee of $250. That fee would be reimbursed if they're approved and they complete their project, or it would also be reimbursed if they're denied. This is to prevent, we have some issues with people applying us taking money out of the pool that's available, setting aside for this project, and the person never goes forth with the project. We have not had it where that would hinder us from giving money possibly to someone else who was going to go forth with their project, but it could possibly. So they want to make that, put an application fee in to make sure that everyone who applies is serious about what they're planning on doing. And I believe that's all the changes they were
I have a
looking for.
motion.
Randy?
Randy, second by Tom. Any discussion?
Yeah, I had one question.
Yeah, Randy.
I was gonna just ask, I'm not sure from what I'm reading here, is an applicant able to apply both rounds in the same year? Or is there a limit on that?
You can only apply once every, or be approved once every 2 years.
Okay.
There are some procedures that have to be followed if they were to apply in the first grant round, and I would assume if they don't follow every step that's supposed to be and are denied, there's nothing in here that says they can't turn around and apply 6 months later if another grant round is done.
But the most any applicant could get in a year is $15,000, then the engineering design plus the construction?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the most that they've spent in the last few years is $25,000 approximately for these grants. They are looking to try to stimulate more interest in the project and help redo some of our downtown and other local areas within the business district. So,
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call a question, please.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Belsley?
Yes.
Blunier?
Yes.
Dobb?
Yes.
Air?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
that's it, Your Honor.
That's it? Is that all? Chief of Police.
Just one thing tonight, Your Honor. Just alert the board that this year's Christmas tree lighting will be taking place on Friday, December the 4th. It's typically from 6:30 in the evening till 7:30 in the evening. It'll be taking place in the 200 block of North Main Street, property owned by Lighthouse Automotive, which formerly housed our community foundation. Part of that, we will be closing down Main Street from Jackson to Pershing, and that will take place at 6 o'clock in the evening, and we'll have it reopened by 8. Typically, it's about a quarter till, but by 8 o'clock, we'll have it all the way open. In addition to Main Street, we also reduce West Jackson Street eastbound from Main Street to about the entrance of the parking lot of Lighthouse Automotive to 1 lane to prevent any right turns there at the intersection going south.
Thank you. Corporate Counsel.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works.
I have several items tonight, Your Honor. First, item A, I'd like to ask for approval of a 3-year contract with Phelps Uniform Company for the Public Works Department uniform rental. We currently are finishing up a 3-year contract with Phelps. And I sent you guys, all of you, a memo with some of those costs. I'll be sitting down with him this week to kind of finalize everything, if approved.
So moved.
Second. Second by Randy. Any discussion? Call a question, please.
Belsley?
Yes.
Blunier?
Yes.
Dobb?
Yes.
Hare?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Next item, I'd just like to update you all on the Detroit Avenue project. It was bid Friday, November 6th. There was one bid. It was significantly over the engineer's estimate. So I've worked with the mayor on that. With this, you got to act fairly quickly. So I couldn't wait till this meeting and then go forward. But we decided to reject that bid and then go back to the drawing board. Not really back to square one, but basically finding areas of savings as far as maybe shortening up the limits, trying to be a little more creative to bring those costs down. Hopefully the next one, another bidder will come too. It's always nice to have 2 bids on a project of that size. If we complete the revisions, which we've already had a meeting with our engineers on that, by mid-December, then we would be put on the IDOT March letting, which would still allow us to complete a majority of the project next year. So I'll keep all of you updated on that. Do you have any questions on that or comments? And then lastly, in your packets is the Public Works recap for the month of October. That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Okay?
That's it.
Any questions on any of those? Okay. Planning and zoning.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Trustee Belsley.
Area residents got a pre-holiday present, you might say, over the weekend with the opening of the ramps and the overpass on I-74 and 155. And those of us that travel that daily appreciate the new path of travel there. And I wanted to just ask Craig if he'd maybe give us an update as well. We've now concluded the third construction season for that project, and hopefully bring it in the home stretch, of course, next year. But thought it might be good just to give an update as that, as well as what impact that has on Morton, and what do we see bringing it to closure next year.
Yeah, I think next year they obviously have some work on eastbound in between Jefferson and North Morton, and the eastbound on-ramp from North Morton to 74, and then some other overpass work there. So I would anticipate, based on my discussion with IDOT, that mid, possibly even late summer by the time they're final and out of here. But obviously a lot less impact on traffic next year, other than miscellaneous lane closures during the week. And I'd just like to reiterate again, I mean, $86 million, I think, through all the frustrations, it's going to be a pretty big impact on Morton long-term, I think.
Thank you. And just a reminder, construction speed zone is still in place through the winter?
Yes, right now it is.
Yeah, so
Follow the signs.
that's it.
Trustee Blunier.
I do. I'd like to make a couple of comments regarding the video incident, so that we can put this to rest, let the water go under the bridge. My son did, in fact, approach me to assist in making this video, and he's a young producer. And his intent was to make a video with some humor to it, in contrast with what you see in the movie, which is a mock bank robbery. He approached me and asked me if I could get permission to do this in a bank setting, which I said, I think that would be probably not a good idea, so let's look at Plan B. So I approached Mayor Ranson and asked him if I could use that building downtown. And I approached him at the last minute and asked him that. And he allowed it to happen. My son also then asked him at the last minute if he would care to play a role in the movie. This was not premeditated. He didn't know anything about it till the day that it happened. And so I'll shoulder the accountability for all of this happening. The mayor did not know this was coming. He was just being a nice guy to allow the building to be used. So for those of you that were offended by any part of this, I apologize for that. However, I just wanted to add clarity to that. And one other thing, last week or last meeting, I mentioned that I called the chief and asked him if we could, or to alert him that we were going to shoot this movie on the street. And I want to clarify and say we called the police department. I didn't necessarily talk with you. So just wanted to make sure that was clear.
That did happen. That was at 6:55 in the morning. We got a notification that it would be taking place between 9 and 10.
I think that's all.
Trustee Dodd.
Nothing tonight.
Trustee Hare.
Just a couple things real quick. Number one, Craig and I will be working here, hopefully by next meeting, to kind of revise the language and the final funding for the plaza. For the essentially, we had anticipated early on that the groundbreaking was going to be in July or thereabouts, and then the final $150,000 funding we put in, we wanted to have that completed by the end of this year. Obviously, in the final stages of fundraising projects, a lot of people want to see something started before they give. So we definitely will be wanting to ask to move that back. And I think as Craig and I talked, probably looking for maybe a July date of kind of the final funding on that. I think we were all notified by that, and Craig, so I just want to remind everybody of that. Also, just wanted to weigh in a few comments on the video, and I got to tell you, I'm very thankful that you guys both gave that apology. I think it was necessary, and it was a good thing. And I appreciate that very much. I think it was like I said, it was the right thing to do. Because as a trustee, I think, and village board member, we are held to a higher standard. And I think in all actions that we do, including myself, I'm not pointing any fingers. And I think one of the things that if you ask Morton citizens, probably the last year or so, I don't think we've probably done our best as a board to come together and make decisions maybe the way they should be and the way a unified example. And I'm a participant in that as well. So what I am hopeful for in the future, the example of, I think with the video, I think it is debatable about freedom of speech, entertainment values, or whatnot. I think the problem is informing the rest of the board or not whether it was okay for the use of the property is what I would zone in on. Just I would say that same thing in regards to the petition that was being signed for to try to prohibit the school board from moving forward on some improvements for the school. So with that, I just want to say that I think that it's time that we all do a better job. I think we can put some differences behind us. I think it's imperative for our village employees, for our village managers, our department heads, that we do this because it is affecting them. And I want to be a part of the solution, not the problem, and I think that we can all do a better job with this. That's all I wanted to say.
Trustee Herman.
Thank you, Your Honor. I, too, appreciate the comments. Trustee Blunier and your comments. I understand that as a parent, when you have a project, you want it to be good and, awesome. And I think that when recordings are happening, things change spur of the moment as with a good direction. And I really appreciate that what we saw as the end product was maybe not exactly what you were expecting, but I think that the quality was, your son did a wonderful job as far as quality. It was just the public perception of an elected official, that kind of struck a nerve with people. But also, in regard to the public perception, I also wanted to comment about the employees, our employees, and that the video, the way it was staged and the location was a very inaccurate misrepresentation of the diligent, conscientious, and ethical way that our employees conduct business on a daily basis. They're very dedicated, and the video is no reflection at all on the quality of services that our citizens get from our employees. And I will be happy to put this behind us also, learn a lesson, and hopefully get some policy in place to hopefully avoid situations like this. I do appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Trustee Kaufman.
Just to remind everybody, the yard waste is closed today and tomorrow for cleanup, and then it'll reopen on Wednesday, the 18th, and will continue till December 6th. And please follow the rules so we can do it another year. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Jeff, if we get that hard rain tomorrow, will they still be able to do the cleanup?
Craig?
I think right now that's the plan.
Okay.
I think if it's a real gully washer, it's
Could be
probably
another
them
day.
just not wanting to work out there is my guess, yeah.
But just remind everybody, if it is closed one more day, nothing gets set outside the gate.
Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.